Brookridge bylaws. The members present at annual or special meeting shall constitute a quorum regardless of the number present. BCPO bylaws state president shall preside over all meetings. David Henry, as president, shall chair the meeting. David, please take the podium.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Oh, so nice. Thank you. I'm glad to see everybody here. Thank you for participating. So I'd like to call the 2025 annual membership meeting to order. And I don't know that I've seen him yet, but our attorney from Becker Law Firm, Steve Metzer, will be joining us this evening. So Steve, unless I've missed you somewhere, raise your hand, but I don't think we've seen him yet. He should be coming momentarily. So I'd like to do a moment of silence, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Secretary Jane Randall to read the proof of notice.
Do what?
On February 18, 2025, the Brookridge Administration Office mailed the 2025 annual members meeting notice, which included a calendar of scheduled board meetings for the next 12 months to each unit owner at the address on file with Hernando County Property Appraiser's Office, according to the requirements of Florida Statutes, Chapter 720.303, and the bylaws of the Brookridge Community Property Owners Association. Approval of minutes of the 3/20/24 annual meeting were approved at the 4/20/24 Board of Directors meeting.
Back to our agenda. The next item on the agenda is correspondence, and we have none for this evening. The annual reports of officers will be myself, and I'll turn it over to Jane in just a few moments. It's been an interesting year for sure. While I had 2 pages of topics I was going to talk about, I think I'm going to try to keep it upbeat and positive and talk about some of the highlights.
Very close.
And while I have 2 pages of topics to review, I think I'm going to let some rest and try to focus on the positive for this report. I think one of the highlights I'd like to discuss is our current status with our financial company, management company conversations. At this point in time, we have 1 contract that has been presented to the board for their review, and we've also forwarded it on to our attorney, Steve Metzer, for his review and comments. I did just receive a second contract from the second company that did the presentations today, and tomorrow morning I'll be forwarding that onto the board for their review and comments, and of course onto our attorney for their review and comments. While we are very excited about working with both companies, we really feel it's important to do our due diligence to make sure that we don't put all of our eggs in one basket and not have a good backup plan. And so we're encouraged about where we're at and the possibilities that this brings to our community. The second thing I'd like to highlight is we have been engaged in conversation, and we also have a contract for review and feedback and that is from a company called Paycor. So we're looking at Paycor as a third-party company to process our payroll. Currently, it's a byproduct of QuickBooks that manages our payroll, and we want to try to ensure that we can move on to another entity that can manage our payroll so that we're not sort of reliant upon QuickBooks for that. And so I think some of the enhancements with this company that we're talking to is that we can also get some time clocks that are much greatly needed, so we can try to get away from handwritten timesheets. It's what I want to say is surprisingly affordable to process our payroll compared to what we're doing today. And so, again, we're very excited about the potential that we can get through this third-party company. There's a lot of digital reporting, a lot of information that can go into the cloud, especially for board members to review what's unfolding. Staff members can go in and see their hours. They can pull reports. They would also do all the W-2s, any I-9s if that's an issue. So we're looking forward to that. How we got there was through one of the management companies, the finance management companies. That's who they use to process their payroll. But we would rather go direct versus go through them to sort of take out the middleman, if you will. And so we're pleasantly surprised to see how that continues to unfold and hopefully get to resolution here pretty quickly. This year we also had the addition of a new clubhouse manager, Jamie. I think we introduced her to everybody at the town hall meeting a couple weeks ago. We're excited to have her here. She has her hands full. So when you see her, give her some well wishes, pat on the back. She's fighting an uphill battle. Also in the fall, we had a chance to do some improvements at the pickleball courts. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on those improvements, and so that was nice to see. And we also had the opportunity to replace the sign for Foster Kripkowski, the tennis courts sign. That old sign was kind of beat up and not in great shape, so we had a chance to sort of update that at the same point in time. I think if I can speak on behalf of the board members, maybe it's unseen to many, but our hands have been full with a lot of distractions. And we're tackling every sort of speed bump and hurdle that comes our way. And there's certainly a lot of work. And so we're excited to position this board going into the new year with hopefully some of these distractions behind us that we can focus on much better things and kind of what we've been dealing with. So we're excited about that. I'll also just make a plug about volunteering for the board. I'll be talking about how we got to terms in a few minutes, but to some degree it seemed discouraging that we only had 2 people apply for the board this year. Now, granted, based on some of my experiences on being on the board, I get it. But we are hoping that we can change that tune, and so that hopefully in the future we get more people that are willing to step up, make a difference, be on the board, and help make continued improvements in the community. And so hopefully next year, going into the winter season, hopefully we have plenty of people that want to be on the board, and hopefully we have sort of a better environment for people to feel excited about getting on the board. So get engaged, apply for the board, and help us make a difference. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn over the treasurer's report to Jane Randall.
I have balances as of the end of February. Our checking accounts were $139,114.94. Our reserves was $226,037.92. CDs are $1,334,951.82. And CDs also at Edward Jones and There's also stocks or bonds at Edward Jones. It's $1,422,670.21. So our total is $3,122,774.89. We have, our delinquency report did go down a little bit from last month. It was at 66,000 and it's now at 59,242. $10,109 of that have been turned into attorney for liens on the homes. And $4,424 is a bankruptcy case. That's what I have.
Thank you. Back to the agenda. Next up is unfinished business, which we have none this evening. Regarding new business, I think everybody will recall that any items that were to be put on the agenda were due back in October on the 7th, and at this point we have no new business for this meeting. So the next topic on the agenda is explanation of appointments of directors. So I think you've heard me talk about this before, and let me just read you a quick blurb from the Florida statutes, 720.306, section 9, paragraph A. If the number of candidates is equal to or fewer than available seats, an election is not required. And so the statute helps ensure that the homeowners associations can efficiently manage board appointments without unnecessary elections when there's no contested positions. So as we reported earlier later in 2024, that we wouldn't be doing an election because we only had 2 seats available and we only had 2 applicants. And so we chose not to do the election for that reason. We thought it would save a lot of energy and some money along the way. But the probably challenging outcome of that decision is we needed to figure out the terms for the board members in totality. So let me walk you through that. So I put together, well, first of all, just know that this was a fairly challenging effort. There was a lot of movement over the past 12 months. And I'll go through the movement in a minute. We also did work very closely with Arlene and our attorney, Steve Metzer, on trying to make sure that we had the right guidance and direction for coming up with the terms. And so that's what I'll go through here now. But before that, I'd like to just go through the chronological timeline of the board member activities so that you could try to understand why it was difficult tracking terms. Starting on May 29th, Leah, our secretary, resigned. On June 6th, James Westbrook passed away. Linda Walls was appointed to the treasurer on June 6th. Deborah Coble, our president, resigned on June 25th. Millie became our president on June 27th. Catherine Lane was appointed to the first vice president position from her director role on June 27th. I was appointed to the board as the second vice president on September 18th. Jane Randall was appointed to the board as secretary on September 18th. Roberta was appointed to the board as director on September 18th. Linda Walls resigned from the board on October 23rd. Millie resigned from the board on November 15th. I was appointed president on November 20th. Richard Feiss was appointed to the second vice president on November 20th. Jane Randall was appointed to the treasurer while remaining secretary on January 15th. Val Stratton was appointed to the board as a director on January 15th, and Jerry Foster was appointed to the board on January 15th. 16 changes in 9 months. Now, I'd like to think that's highly unusual, and that's just not a Brookridge thing. So don't nod your heads and say that's a Brookridge thing. I'd like to think that this is very unusual. So as we began to map this out, it actually took me 7 different tables, not that you can read it from there, but it took me 7 different tables to try to track every one of those moves. who stepped down, who moved sideways, who moved up, who moved laterally. And so it was interesting at best. So at the end, here's what we've come up with. So for the terms of our folks that we'll be discussing later, Catherine Laney, she is still within her 3-year term. She has 2 years remaining, and her term ends in 2027. That was already identified. Richard Feiss, he was on a 3-year term. It ends in 2027. There's 2 years remaining. Al Stratton and Jerry Foster, new to the board, would have received and will receive 3-year terms to end in 2028, so that we can make sure we have appropriate staggering of terms. That brings us to myself, Jane Randall, and Roberta. We will have 1-year terms. We will be eligible for re-election in 2026. At that point in time, with those 3 positions, the 2 of those seats that gets the highest number of votes will get a 3-year term, and the lowest within those 3 would get a 1-year term. So we feel very good about how this sets us up next year for an election and gets us with a good staggering of terms for the folks on the board. So that said, we are going to open this up to a number of comments. I'll leave the microphone over here at the podium. It is already turned on, as you can see, so no need to look for the button on here. And everybody has 3 minutes. Arlene will give probably about a 30-second heads up as you are concluding your 3 minutes to allow you to wrap it up, so we can make room for those that would like to have member comments.
Hey, don't be shy. Go ahead up.
Good evening, my fellow neighbors. My name is Colleen Bonner. I've lived here, is that loud enough? I'm sorry. Okay. Do I dance too? Anyway, my name is Colleen Bonner. I am one of your neighbors. I'm known as a realtor girl in here. And I have some safety concerns that's been going on in the community since I moved in 3 years ago, and a lot. And I thought about it, and I looked into it, and I wondered what has changed. And one thing I noticed has changed, only because I do real estate in here and sell houses. I list houses and sell them. So with that being said, when we vet new people coming into the neighborhood, they all have to pay $125, right? And we have a background check on them. Great idea. Great idea, but what has happened over my last 7, 8 sales I've had in here, they are vetting people in here without any ID at all. They're writing in their name, an address, and that's it, drops it off at the office. Or emails it to the office. And with that being said, to my understanding, there has been people who have come in that way, who may have bad background, possibly using somebody else's name that has a clean background, paying them off. The reason I say that, makes me think that, is because where I live, my neighbors, cars are coming in all through the night, all day, all night. There's a young gentleman that lives there with his mother or father that they have moved in, thought he was there for Christmas, but still there, and it's very unusual. And that person lives in the front porch. And you know, the bad language going on, the throwing up in the backyard, and the bro this, bro that, And why are cars coming in all day and night, not during the day? Thought that was odd.
30 seconds.
Honor, 30 seconds.
Okay, that's that. Another thing, they're doing drag racing down the boulevard between 10:30 and 11. And another thing I'd like to mention is I think we should get bat houses in here, not bat houses, owl houses in here to take care of some of the wreck situations. I'm going to look into wildlife to see if we can get some of those put into our community, because there's no owls here.
Linda Walsh, Unit 4. We actually had 5 openings because the 3 that were appointed to the board in September only were on the board till our March election. So we technically, according to our bylaws, had 5 openings. And in going over how the terms should be, 2 directors' terms expired, so 2 should get 3 years. 1 director resigned, which was me. I had 2 years left, so 1 person should get 2 years. And 2 directors had 1 year left, so 2 should get a year. So I think you need to look at our bylaws and go through them and read them and follow them. Another concern that I have is that we have a repurchase agreement at Brandon Bank, which states any amount over $250,000 is not FDIC insured, and our bylaws require that all BCPO funds are to be in accounts that are insured by FDIC. I have a letter from Brandon Bank showing that we're $700,000 over the $250,000. This repurchase agreement, the way I understood it from Chris at the bank, it's in bonds. Bonds are not insured by FDIC. I also received a statement from Edward Jones, November 30th to December 31st of 24. It shows that $720,774.27 was wire transferred on December the 27th, 2024. And I would like to know where those funds are, since our balance sheet right now does not reflect this amount being put in any accounts. Do we have a CPA to reconcile and close out the books yet for 2024? And has an audit company been hired to do the audit?
Ms. Walls, you have 20 seconds.
I would like some answers.
Linda, you can go ahead and put your request in writing to the office, and we'll work on getting you an answer.
I put request in. And whose decision was it to not have the election? The election, by the votes, determines the terms per our bylaws.
Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. Every year this seems to be going on. I hope that we come to a resolve this year. The only problem I have is that our bylaws state, I know state statutes say we don't have to have an election, but our bylaws specifically state that if you're appointed, you have to run the next election. So that's all I have to say on that. I just put my 2 cents in. I'm here about the rules and regulations. And I know that Jerry Kraft is here. She is the new person for the rules and regulations. There was a rules committee. that worked 15 months on redoing all of the rules and regulations. We've turned them in a couple of times and they've been kind of ignored. And then Jerry said that she didn't know that we had them. But I have made copies, Jerry. You have them, do you have the thick packet or the thin packet? You don't have the thick packet because the packet that they had was just the new ones. This is showing you the corrections and why the corrections were made that would be helpful to the community. So I just wanna wish the new board, I wanna wish you luck. I hope that this community comes together because this community has been fractured for, I would say, 4 to 5 years. And if we follow the rules, follow our, background checks is another thing I'll have to work on another time. I'm not gonna take up time for that. If that's what's happening, that is really, really sad. And that is something that as 55 plus community, I hope all of you realize how important these background checks are. We've kept people out that don't belong here. This is a 55 plus community. It is not a regular community. So I just wanna put that little thing in there too. So I wish you all well and let's have a better year than the last couple of years.
Richard Price in 6. Linda, you were treasurer right after Jim Westbrook. Jim Westbrook is the one, and I told it in other meetings, that did that agreement with Brandon Beck. You were supposedly, from everything you told me, you were learning everything from him. And for some reason, you didn't know anything about that. You didn't know a lot of things about a lot of this stuff with the finances, unfortunately. Okay? And I just want to tell you, we did go over a lot of the stuff. Where the money was moved, okay, and why it was moved, the strategy involved with that went through DeMars. You can go back to the past meetings and you can look at all that stuff. Okay, so it's kind of getting old speaking about something that was done over a year ago that has nothing to do with our board. And that was all explained at a previous meeting, Linda, that I don't believe you must have watched.
I hope you can hear me. Questions I have is this guidehouse is number one.
Sir, can we have your name and unit number?
Alphonse Boucher, 7556 Mariah.
Thank you.
They call me Butch. I don't know why we didn't get a shed number one. Payments, I heard $750. Okay, you want $60,000 to do the other thing, so you put this money on top of that. What do you got? Now you got $100,000. I think we should start watching our pockets a little bit. Live within the budget that we didn't pass, live within it. We're taking on a lot of biting. Then I heard there was a truck that was being sold up here. I used to be a police officer, and I decided to go into business for cars, auto body, and mechanic, my own business. I don't know who sold the truck for so cheap, but I'll tell you, you got one, and I went right up here. 240,000 miles on it. It's an F-150, you got $27,500 for it. You got another one, $18,000 for a Toyota pickup with high mileage on it. So we could have had some of that money to put down, that's taken years to fix out front there. It's just unbelievable. And the other thing I want to tell you, in the book, I've heard of things about 55 and over. I was here at all the meetings with a lawyer and all that stuff. This park is 55 and over. You have grandchildren, can come in here for 90 days and then they leave. Period. Another thing, papers were sent out, they wanted to know who lived in the house and all this stuff. I never got one, 6 other of my neighbors never got one. I don't even know why they were sent out, you don't need it, this is done, it's 55 and over. Just get it in your head, that's what it is. And it's gonna stay that way if I have to put a class action suit to this place. You know, all America right now is cutting back. You know, we wanna make new exits going out, we wanna do this here. When is the damn shack gonna be done? And why are we putting so much money in? Then you got another guy that rides around here, I'm in my golf cart, going down the boulevard. The guy in the truck is supposed to be code officer, whatever the hell he is.
Mr.
This
Boucher, you
guy's
have 30
speeding.
seconds.
This guy's speeding. And he does nothing. I don't know if he sees anything. I don't think we need him. What you could do is get a golf cart, do the same thing, get rid of the trucks, get rid of the insurance and all this stuff. You save a heck of a lot of money. I know what it costs me to live here. You know, people are retired and stuff. Pretty hard to get by the way this country's being run right now. I don't want this board to run like Washington. That's all I gotta say.
Good evening, board members. My name is Gino Verdi, 840 Fiat. I got a few questions. A little closer. We let people in here that don't belong. They get in here 2 days and I had tried to get somebody out of my next door for over 2 years. What is the problem? Who put them in here? Who are the people that let people like that come in? I can't leave anything out because he'll steal it. But I can't prove it because he doesn't steal anything large enough that I can say it's mine. He takes the garden pump, my propane tank, gas. That's part of it. When I started here, or came here 5 years ago, you couldn't ask for anything better. After that, it went downhill. People were coming in, nobody was checking out. I don't know who's checking them in. Got board members that leave and everything like that. They don't finish it. So needless to say, I've been trying for 2 years to get this person out, and I've been told, well, it's the lawyer. Well, does anybody talk to the lawyers about any of these situations? I'm willing to bet some of these people have people that live right next door to them that they wish they could get out. When we started, I started a year and a half ago as a security driver. First, they started taking away the RVs. We didn't have to write them up anymore. Then it was if anybody was parked on the lawn. I'm not saying this in succession, is that the way it went, but this is what went on. Now you've got RVs out sticking out, you've got utility vans on it, you've got trucks. I don't want to take anything away from anybody, because the way the situation is now, and the money, we all need it. There are people in here that are working out of their house. Is that a rule? Is that a code? Can they do
Mr.
that?
Verdi, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, okay. The other thing here is, why are we being taken away from the security at night? And all these activities can go on at night. You keep taking away for what? For a club shack or a guard shack? That alone should have been thoroughly looked into before it was started.
I'm sorry, your time's up.
Yeah, I'm sorry too, because I have more to say.
You can get back in line.
Mark Keller, Unit 4. How can we have an organizational meeting at the end of this meeting when no ballots ever went out? This is totally against our bylaws and governing documents. Past boards set a precedence that applications for those who want to run for a position on the board of directors: 1, it went out in the news and views several times. 2, sent out via emails. 3, announced at several membership meetings. From what I found out, it was only announced one at a members meeting by acting president Dave Henry. Everyone on this board, their terms are up except for 2. The ones whose terms are not up, and Mrs. Lane and Mr. Feist. This board has not given an adequate notice to this community about taking applications to run for the board of directors. We cannot have an organizational meeting because they didn't send out ballots to see who will get 2, 3, or 1-year terms. We, the members of this community, have the right to vote whether we want a financial company, and we also have the right on hiring a management company. After all of this is taking out of our dues. These 2 items should have gone out on the ballot, electing those who we want on the BOD. This is in violation of our bylaws, rules, regulations, and governing documents, not to mention Florida's 720s. At the end of this membership meeting, we only have 2 legal board members, since you choose not to send out ballots to elect a new board. How can you legally continue running this community? I'm calling for an emergency election of officers to the board. Follow the 720 ruling and have a legal election. Give notice to the community that all applications are being taken for anyone wishing to run for the board, as we've done in the past. You also need to look up the Florida Sunshine Rules, number 723.078.
Keller, you have 30 seconds.
And read all the way down through them, because it says elections shall be by a plurality of ballots cast. There is no quorum requirement. Section 2-B. The term of a director elected or appointed to fill a vacancy expires at the next annual meeting, and that's tonight. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, my name is Susan Bursky, and I'm fairly new to the community, so I don't know all the history that has been going on, but it sounds like it's time to get our acts together. I would like to just only share an issue that I'd like to put out on the table, which happens at the pool. And I had a gentleman come in with an electric wheelchair. And I said hello to him, and I started talking to him. I said, "Are you able to get into this pool?" And he goes, "No, I can't." And he said, "And it's the only place I can walk." And I thought, why? Being an active swimmer, I didn't even think about those who are sitting at home who are paying $50 a month or whatever, who don't have access to the swimming pool. And it just seems like a lift is needed to be put in so that the majority of anyone who wants to swim can come and swim. I would like to see something like that happen for our community so that we're inclusive and not exclusive. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Elaine Rankin, and I live on Dickens Avenue. I guess I'm in section 3. I just have a question that maybe somebody can help me with or lead me in the right direction here. And I'm just going to start off with saying also, too, I should say, my in-laws lived here back in the 90s, and I used to come and visit here. And there were a lot of strict rules about what you could do with your property and how it should look. Okay? Well, all right, now that that's said, this situation has been occurring for quite a while, and it has nothing to do, first of all, with the hurricane at first. There's a house behind me that is just falling apart pretty much. The siding is knocked down, I don't know what you call that, the skirting, thank you, the skirting's been knocked down. It was all laying in the yard for the longest time. I'm a snowbird, I went home, came back, and the person had like, lattice work. Is that acceptable? I don't know if that's acceptable, but when it was moving, falling apart and falling down, well, what do you think that leads to? Cats, rats, whatever, like wants to run around, and the underlayment, you can see it, it's all hanging down, and I can't even imagine. And I've heard the window, well, the neighbor next door saw birds flying in the house through the window. So now this last hurricane that we had, and I understand not everybody has the funds to take care of everything, but this roof on the top of the house is just flapping and banging in the breeze, and all night long you hear bang, 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 if the wind blows. That's a little freaking annoying, I can say the least. So, I mean, and this person that is there, and I know people say they're grandfathered in, 23 years old, I'm sure she doesn't have the means to fix it, but how long do we let this last for? How long does the rain run in here? How long before that whole house is just like a crap hole, to say the least? So if anybody can lead me in the right direction, I would love to talk to somebody, and maybe we can put our hands together and, okay, you can help me? All right, that sounds good. I just need a direction to go in. And also too, like I said, I don't understand where our standards have gone down.
You have 30 seconds.
I'm done. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Donna Smedco, Unit 2. I've come to all these meetings, I've lived in here a long time, and it is pathetic. Every time you come, the bitterness, the dumping, that yelling at the board, that we have a board up here. Everybody volunteer then to get in line and become a board member. And everybody is forgetting. You keep on saying, why are we cutting here? Why are we cutting there? Did you forget that everybody voted down the increase? My goodness, everything has gone up, including eggs. That's the big story. But think about it, guys. Everybody is trying to do a job here, and nobody is giving them any kind of credit. We've got a lot of problems in here, but you got to start. And Mr. Keller, you were on the board, and there were problems back then. So don't get up here and start ridiculing all these people. They're just trying to get them.
Mark Keller, Unit 4 again. Ma'am, I'd like to address one thing. When I was on the board, we did everything according to rules, regulations, and bylaws and our governing documents. Sure, we had people get up and complain like you said, but there's never been a board that nobody ever got up and complained about. And when people did complain, my board listened to them and we took care of the situation. Thank you.
You got me up here one more time. My name again is Gino Verdi. I live at 8040 Fiat Avenue. I want to know why people can put these stick-ons on their car so that they are like, they say it's advertising. Me, I say it's a solicitation. If it's okay for them to do that, why can't we sell a golf cart on our lawn or on our carport? Well, what's the difference? We can't sell anything, but people can put that on their side of their cars. I don't want to take business away from anybody. We all need it. I said that earlier. But if you're going to let people put their signs up, why can't we get the same benefit when we want to sell something? Again, when this situation with, are our rules and bylaws changed as far as the way we don't drive anymore at night? I don't understand that. Can anybody clarify why we did that? Well, there's money being thrown away some other places. There's money we can't even account for because nobody tells us anything. I don't know one thing from another. If I don't hear it from somebody that's in the system, I don't know. I want to know how long it's going to take for me to get rid of this guy next door to me. 2 years. And he gets in here for 2 days, he's in here. He's 45, 47 now. His mother can drive. She's not a handicap. And I keep getting pushed to the side and everything. I want to know why. I can't leave packages outside. If a package comes to my house, I don't know if it's going to be there when I get home from the doctor. That's a hell of a way to live in a place that's supposed to be secure and 55. There are people in here that are not 55. Who makes these rules? Why don't we abide by the rules? Why doesn't anybody look into them? There's a lot of things that these people can say. Okay, some of them don't want to talk because they're bad talkers. I'm stuttering at times because I'm trying to figure out what to say to make it more comfortable for all of us.
20 seconds.
I got 20 seconds. Here you go. I'm for all of it. I want everything that's being done for others, for businesses, and things of this nature, so that we get the same thing. Thank you.
I have a question. I need clarification, because I do everything by the rules and regulations. To my understanding, as a realtor, with putting up signs, we were always told to put them inside the window. I have hearsay, and I've seen say, I have the pictures on my phone, that now we don't have to put them inside the window. They're allowed, we can put them out in the front lawn, out on the, okay, because there are, and I only brought that up because I've seen some signs in here that are not in the window, and I was just curious if the rules have changed. I did speak and brought it to the attention of, code enforcement, showed him the picture because, hey, not that I'm complaining, but I'm saying if it changed, man, I want to do that too. Some of my signs, I'm on Century 21, they're dark behind that window. They don't show up very well. I got white ones I reordered now, they're better. They'll see me a lot better. So, do we need signs in the window or out on the lawns or out in front? What's the answer?
Only in the window.
Okay, so the ones that, okay, then I'm assuming code will take care of the ones that are not.
They should, yes. If they don't, go back to code and tell them again.
They told me the rule, it had changed, now you can allow them outside.
Code enforcement told you that?
I spoke with one of the persons down here.
Can I just clarify one thing? There are certain homes that they don't have windows,
No, this
but,
windows,
so
I'm
that
aware
way
of
they're
that.
allowed on the house.
I'm aware of that, no, it has windows.
Okay, so no, window.
There's not windows.
Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. We're hearing a lot of stuff tonight. That's usually comes at a regular board meeting, but I'm glad to see people coming out. Just a suggestion, everyone. When you see something, take a picture, go to the office, but try to make a report. It's very easy. You're not told, the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator is not going to know who it is. Just bring it to the office, and then on that form, it should still say, it always did, that if you choose to be, if you want to be told what is going on, you check the mark down there, and they will get back to you. But sometimes it takes up to 5 to 7 days for them to respond to all of this. So just a suggestion as someone who's been here for a long time, That's the easiest way, instead of coming to a meeting, you know, go to the, do it through the proper channels. Like everyone's saying, we have rules and regulations. I think they've been very slack these last couple of years, and I think that it's, there's a non-awareness of what our rules and regulations and our bylaws and our deed restrictions are, and I hope that this new board will step up to the plate and review them and see what's in there, because everybody would be surprised. Thank you.
Thank you for all the member comments. At this point, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Can I have a second?
I make a motion to adjourn. It has public membership.
Got it, thank you. So do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? The ayes have it. Have a nice evening. Okay, I'd like to request that the appointed directors take a seat at the table in front, please.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, she said that this part does go on film.
Okay, okay.
So I just turned it towards the wall for.
Okay. No, she just said we're supposed to leave it on, so we're leaving it on.
Oh, no, we heard. Okay, we're gonna call this, meeting back to order. This is the organizational meeting, 2025, Brookridge Board of Directors.
Hold it down.
If you guys wanna, chit chat, please take it to the other room, because we do need to hear everything that's going on. So welcome to everybody that stayed. Excuse my back over there, but I gotta kind of face this way. All right, so now we're at the part of the meeting where we do the nomination. So the first position, obviously, is president. So from the 7 of you, do I have a nomination for president?
I nominate David.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's do one at a time. So Val, and then Richard, you nominated David, correct? Okay, and then David, you nominated Catherine? Okay. Catherine, or David?
I nominate Catherine as well.
Okay, second David and Jerry. Okay, all right, any other nominations for president? Okay, so we have 2 people who were nominated, so now we're gonna do a vote. So first is nominated was David, so David Henry, so who votes for David Henry? Please raise your hands. All right, so we have 2 people. Okay, and then Catherine, who votes for Catherine? Okay, congratulations, Catherine Lane is our new president. Okay, so now we'll take nominations for first vice president. Do I have a nomination for first vice president?
I nominate Jane.
Okay, so Catherine nominated Jane. Do I have a second? Okay. Okay, any other nominations for first vice president? No, okay, congratulations, Jane. She's like, what? Me? Okay, so now our second vice president, nominations for second vice president.
I nominate Richard.
Okay, does anybody second that nomination? You can second yourself, Richard. Okay. Okay, so we have Val and Richard. Okay, any other nominations for second vice president?
I nominate Roberta.
Okay, Roberta, and do I have a second on that one?
I'll second that.
Okay, Catherine, thank you. All right. So we have
Okay, so the first person nominated was who? Everybody paying attention? Richard, good. Okay, so now we need to vote. Anybody that's voting for Richard, please raise your hand. Okay, we have 2 people, thank you. Okay, and who was the second person nominated? Who's paying attention? Good, thank you. Good job, guys. Okay, so everybody voting for Roberta for second VP, please raise your hand. All right, so we have 3. So the vote is for Roberta. Congratulations. Second VP. Roberta. Okay, so next position is for secretary. Nominations for secretary.
I'm gonna nominate Val.
Okay. Yeah, do I have a second on that one?
I'll second that.
All right. All right, do we have any other nominations for secretary? No? Okay, congratulations, Val. Okay, next position is for treasurer. Nominations for treasurer.
I nominate David.
Okay, David, do I have a second on that nomination?
I nominate Jerry.
Okay, wait, we need a second first. Okay, Richard, okay. All right, and now we need, I'm sorry, there was another nomination for treasurer?
Yes, Jerry.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, goodness. Okay, no, we're not voting yet. All right, so the 2 nominees so far are David and Jerry for treasurer. Do we have any other nominations? Okay, so now we're gonna vote. My pen just broke. Thank you. Okay, so for the position of treasurer, right now we are voting for David for treasurer. Anybody voting for David, raise your hand. Val, Richard, so that's 2. And for the other person was who? Jerry, good. I'm glad you guys will pay attention. There'll be a test later. Okay, now I'm moving along, I'm sorry. Okay, all right, so who is voting for Jerry for treasurer? Raise your hand. Okay, Jerry, congratulations. Okay, so that leaves, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that leaves David. And who's our last person? Richard, right, good job. Okay, so your board for 2025, 2026 is President Catherine Lane, First Vice President Jane Randall, Second Vice President Roberta Brodeur, Secretary Val Stratton, Treasurer Jerry Foster, Directors David Henry and Richard Feist. Anybody have any questions? Oh, we can clap, yes, I'm sorry, we have to clap, good job. All right, congratulations, everybody. Any other business? Okay, I need a nomination from somebody on the floor to close the meeting. Anybody, Val, want to close the meeting? Motion to adjourn? Okay, thank you, Gail. Do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Litchfield, thank you. Okay, meeting closed at 8:02 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Stop. I don't know what, but stop. So that's a good thing.